Perhaps more than any other invention in history, smartphones and social media have transformed the social landscape of our world. They've changed what we think about, what we talk about, what we do, and the story we are telling with our lives.
Missing out on my years. There's times when I wish I was where I was back when I used to wish I was here. Missing out on my days. Scrolling through life and fishing for praise. Opinions from total strangers take me out of my ways. I try and see who's there on the other end of the shade. Most times it's just somebody that's underage, that's probably just alone and afraid, and lashing out so that someone else can feel their pain. I know a girl whose one goal was to visit Rome. Then she finally got to Rome, and all she did was post pictures for people at home, cause all that mattered was impressing everybody she's known. I know another girl that's crying out for help, but her latest caption is leave me alone. I know a girl happily married till she puts down her phone. I know a girl that saves pictures from places she's flown to post later and make it look like she's still on the go.
A lot of us know people like the ones Drake is talking about, the people who project a false image of themselves so that they can get more likes and comments. But of course, the concept of living for other people's approval wasn't created by social media. All the way back in 400 AD, Augustine wrote about this struggle in a prayer to God in his book, Confessions. But if he disapproved, my heart, which was vain and void of the solidity you impart, would have been hurt.
These are my confessions.
Not only that, before we point the finger and blame the users of technology, we first need to look at how apps and websites are deliberately designed to promote this type of behavior. Professor Sherry Turkle points out in her book, Reclaiming Conversation, if we feel addicted to our phones, it is not a personal weakness. We are exhibiting a predictable response to a perfectly executed design. Looking at things through this lens might put us halfway to making new choices, needed changes.
The discussion of technology and social media often ends with a false dichotomy, either rejecting all technology or getting into everything all the time. Over the next 4 sessions, we want to propose a middle ground. We'll also talk about how social media affects our self-image, how it affects our relationships, and how to be a good friend in the digital era. We'll also, along the way, talk about FOMO and the art of conversations. But for now, we just want to pull back the curtain on how some of our favorite apps are designed.
The other day I got on Instagram to respond to a message from a friend, and while I was on there, I saw that one of the accounts I follow had posted a video. So I clicked it. At first I didn't understand what was going on, and then it got to the part of the song where the drum solo is supposed to happen. And I just lost it. Like, I literally laughed for almost a full minute. And so I click his profile and I start scrolling until I find another video.
Somebody once told me the world is gonna...
Again, same thing, I'm just cracking up. And so I keep going. Before long, things start getting pretty weird. And before I know it, 45 minutes are gone, and I still haven't responded to the message I originally came to respond to.
According to the 2018 Teen Smartphone Addiction National Survey, 56% of teens get online every day with the intention of doing one thing and get sidetracked doing something else for an extended period of time. This is partly because we can do so much with social media.
I check my phone a lot.
More than I can count.
I check it usually when I wake up in the morning. Before school.
During school.
A couple times each class.
At lunch.
After school.
Walking home.
While I'm doing homework.
I'm watching people's stories. Check Instagram. Going through my feed.
Watch videos. Playing a game.
Liking pictures.
I'm constantly checking my phone until I go to bed.
At the same time, according to that same survey from earlier, 65% of teens wish they had a greater ability to self-limit the amount of time they spend on their phone. That's almost 3 out of 4 teens who are saying, yeah, there's a lot that the phone can do, but I wish I had a better ability to control the amount of time I spend doing those things. So turn to the person next to you and discuss this. Are you surprised that so many teens feel this way? Why or why not?
Whether you're surprised or not, it'll be clear why it's such a struggle when you see how these apps are being designed. Tristan Harris has been working in app design for over a decade, and he says that many app designers use the same strategy that grocery stores do. The number one and number two reason people go to grocery stores are to refill prescriptions at the pharmacy and to buy milk. But in most stores, where are these things located? Typically, they're not right up front. They're all the way on the other side of the store, because that means customers will have to walk past lots of other brightly colored displays, and they might end up buying more things.
Tech companies design their websites the same way. For example, when you want to look up a Facebook event happening tonight, your reason, the Facebook app doesn't allow you to access it without first landing on the news feed, their reasons, and that's on purpose. Facebook wants to convert every reason you have for using Facebook into their reason, which is to maximize the time you spend consuming things.
We can see the same kind of design tactics playing out on Snapchat and Instagram. On Snapchat, if I have a streak going with someone, I might have a strong motivation to keep that streak alive.
In the morning, just send a streaks picture. And when I get home from school, send a streaks picture. And now it's like a habit to do when I get on my phone.
We could take that habit as evidence of our commitment to the friendship. But if you think about the feature from the perspective of the company, what might have been Snapchat's motivation for adding the feature?
And so you could ask, when these features are being designed, are they designed to most help people live their life? Or are they being designed because they're best at hooking people into using the product?
Is Silicon Valley programming apps, or are they programming people?
Inadvertently, whether they want to or not, they're shaping the thoughts and feelings and actions of people. They are programming people. There's always this narrative that technology is neutral and it's up to us to choose how we use it. This is just not true.
Technology is not neutral.
It's not neutral. They want you to use it in particular ways and for long periods of time, because that's how they make their money.
App designer Ramsey Brown calls this kind of tactic brain hacking.
A computer programmer who now understands how the brain works knows how to write code that will get the brain to do certain things.
The metaphor of a slot machine is also helpful to understand why social media can be so addictive. If you want to maximize addictiveness, all tech designers need to do is link a user's action, like pulling a lever, with a variable reward. You pull a lever and immediately receive either an enticing reward, a match, a prize, or nothing. Addictiveness is maximized when the rate of reward is most variable.
In other words, if sometimes you get likes and notifications and other times you don't, the uncertainty about what you'll get makes it more addictive. Of course, tech companies can't control when someone else likes your post in order to give you that variable reward, but they can control when you learn about it.
On Instagram, he told us sometimes those likes come in a sudden rush.
They're holding some of them back for you to let you know later in a big burst. Like, hey, here's the 30 likes we didn't mention from a little while ago.
So all of a sudden you get a big burst of likes.
Yeah, but why that moment? There's some algorithm somewhere that predicted, hey, for this user right now, who's experimental subject 79B3 and experiment 231, we think we can see an improvement in his behavior if you give it to him in this burst instead of that burst.
Many former employees at tech companies like Apple, Google, or Facebook, who also owns Instagram, have expressed deep regrets over products that they've helped create. Sean Parker, the former president of Facebook, said, "It's a social validation feedback loop, exactly the kind of thing that a hacker like myself would come up with, because you're exploiting a vulnerability in human psychology."
Tony Fadell, the designer behind the iPhone, said, "I wake up in cold sweats every so often thinking, what did we bring to the world?" The former vice president of user growth at Facebook had this to say.
We have created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is truly where we are. And I would encourage all of you, as the future leaders of the world, to really internalize how important this is. If you feed the beast, that beast will destroy you. If you push back on it, we have a chance to control it and rein it in.
The movement that Tristan Harris is leading is about doing just that. It's about holding companies accountable to creating technology and apps that don't just control our lives more, but actually make our lives better. And thankfully, some companies are starting to pay attention.
Some people have said to me, it's really unnatural, like a tech company wanting to help people figure out how to not use tech as much. What's that all about? But when we actually went and asked people, how are you feeling about this? People said to us pretty clearly, I love my phone, but some of the time I spent on it, I wish I hadn't. And actually over 70% of people we talked to felt that way. And so I think that you just reach that point of momentum on some of these topics where it's time to act.
Another complication with that is obviously that, Google is a company. and
Turns
you
out.
have, and yeah, it turns out that it is. And there are these financial demands, obviously. So critics of Google and tech companies will argue that, as long as you have a financial incentive to keep people on the devices, that you're never going to go far enough. How do you respond to that critique?
It has to be about the long term, because if there's an app that's sending you tons of notifications every day or doing things that you don't like, there will be tools available from us, from others, to silence that. I think balance is a feature. One of the things I'm excited about is this feature we codenamed Shush. You flip your phone over on the table and it turns on Do Not Disturb mode for you. So I think it's one part awareness, I think it's one part tools, and I think it's one part both responsibility on the part of companies and individuals.
Again, those final lines are really important. The solution is one part awareness, one part tools, and one part both responsibility on the part of companies and individuals.
Being aware of how tech companies manipulate our choices allows us to use technology in more intentional ways. In Psalm 32, 8-9, it says, "I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my loving eye on you. Do not be like the horse or the mule, which have no understanding but must be controlled by bit and bridle, or they will not come to you." As a general rule of life, God's counsel for how we should live involves taking the understanding we have and applying it. We'll talk more about some bigger picture solutions in part 4, but for now we want to pivot to a very important discussion. How have technology and social media been affecting our self-image?